Morning and welcome to the program. According to a report out this week, the United States is still a nation of entrepreneurs. The number of single person businesses or people who are self employed has increased to 17.5 million, up from 17 million last year. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, this morning we look at a trend towards self employment. And according to the US Bureau, freelancing that is happening all over the United States. But first, let's go out onto the street and talk to some people who are on the front lines. What do you do? I have three different jobs. I'm a substitute teacher, I write for a website, and I volunteer at an art museum. Wow, how do you juggle all that? Well, it's not all that bad. I only teach for a couple of days a week, 2 or 3 days a week usually. All I do to website work at home, often during the evenings. So there's not that much conflict. You could call it variety. So you enjoy working three different places? Right now? Yeah, I really do. Especially with the teaching. When you're a sub, you don't get involved in the day stuff or the paperwork or the politics. Just go in and do the job and then you go home. And it's flexible. If I don't want to work, I don't have to. But I feel that I need to work more as for some teaching hours. If I had a full time job, I think I'd get burned out and I wouldn't be able to do the other work which I really enjoy. How about the health benefits? Well, I get health insurance through my wife's job, so I don't have to worry about it. Tell me about your job. I've just set up my own baking business. I make cakes for special occasions, wedding, and that sort of thing. Really? Why did you do that? Well, I had a full time job, but I got laid off, so I decided to go out on my own. And how's it going? Well, I don't have very many expenses because I'm living and working at my parents' house, so I don't have to pay rent. It's going okay. I'm getting by. It takes a while, to get known. It's always been a learning experience. I've learned a lot about managing a business. What are your plans for the future? Well, I need to work on marketing, get out there and sell myself. I'm not very good at that part of it. Ideally, I'd like to work with a partner that could do that. Maybe I'd like to have an own place someday, but right now, I'm just taking it a day at a time. Back to the studio now, and if you just join us, the subject is the recent results that show 17.5 million self-employed people in the United States. We're taken to labor specialist Jenny Huang. Welcome to the program, Jenny. Thank you. Jenny, can you tell us who these 17.5 million people are? Well, there are different types of people in this category. There are the entrepreneurs, the young lady you interview, the one that have their own one-person business. They're the ones who usually think of when we think of self-employment. But then there are freelancers who might go to work in different places or work on a contract basis. And there are the people who are employees but also work for themselves part-time, like the first person you spoke to. What kind of work do these people do? Well, the greatest rise in self employment has been in professional and business services. That will include people like freelance web designers, marketing consultants, and so on. The second biggest category is construction workers. This includes carpenters, painters, electricians, and so on, who work for themselves. And while you think self employment is on the rise, are really a nation of entrepreneurs? Is there something else going on here? Well, some of this economic. There are people who have been laid off, so they've decided to go out on their own. Another reason is the growth of the software industry and the media, where they've used a lot of freelancers, writers, and programmers, and so on. There are a lot of people working in those areas now, but there's also been a change in attitudes. There are more people who want the advantages of self employment. They're finding it preferable, being able to manage their own time, for example. They want to have more control over their own schedule. Exactly. What are the doubts there to self employment? Well, a lot of people underestimate the amount of time you have to put into the business side of things, especially marketing, especially at the beginning. It's not enough to be good at something. You have to be able to sell yourself. Some people would never go into self employment because marketing isn't their strength. The other thing is to be organized, especially with your time. You have to be able to manage your time. You need a business plan, and you really have to be very organized with a self freelancer.